Last night, Senator Clinton and I had our 21st debate of the year. And, you know, you've just got to kind of let it,
Having been in the White House for 8 years and seeing what happens in terms of the pressures and the stresses on a president, that was nothing. You can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen.
Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton reacting to Wednesday night's debate. Barack Obama with a little nod to Jay-Z there. We, of course, also stirred up a debate with our questions on Wednesday night and some criticism, too. That comes with the territory. But here to debate everything about the debate, I'm joined, as always, by George Will, Cokie Roberts, and Sam Donaldson. Welcome you all to our new home.
It's great here.
So, George, Wednesday night, first impression, last impression.
In 21 debates, the two most interesting and revealing questions were asked in this debate, and they were not about his friends or his lapel pins. They were about policy. One was on capital gains, where he conceded the premise of the question, as he should, because it's true that when you raise capital gains taxes rates, you lower revenues from that, and said he'd do it anyway, even if it reduced the return on American investment, even if it cost the government revenues, he'd do it out of some abstract commitment to fairness. And then on raising Social Security taxes, or the body of income susceptible to the 12.4% rate, he clearly says he's considering raising taxes on those making more than $103,000, much less
Let me throw you the question.
What he had at $200,000.
I asked Senator McCain, what's the principal difference between that and raising the Medicare premium for people at the same income level?
Well, a Medicare premium is an entitlement program to which you are susceptible if you get ill. Social Security is a tax to which you're susceptible if you live in America.
And Social Security is not an entitlement program? Excuse me, but let me go back to the debate, your question. There are two things. I wish, George, that the people who control the elections in this country, let's say the people in the middle, looked at the policy and thought about the capital gains tax. I think, though, over a good number of years, I've discovered they look at character. They look at, do I like this person? Do I trust this person? All of those issues that were brought up in the first half of the debate. And I wish Senator Obama's fans, in and out of the media, would concentrate on his answers and say he gave a good answer here. Not that the question was off base. When you attack the questioner, you attack the messenger. Look at his answers and defend them and say he gave good replies, and that will satisfy people, if you can.
He does a good job sort of after the fact. I mean, the brushing his lapel was good. He did the same thing, you know, with Hillary Clinton after his bitter remark.
Also comes up with big endorsements on Thursday and Friday to make up for it as well.
Which was very wise, yes, to have those announcements come out. I mean, his crack about Hillary was in a duck blind every weekend, you know, that kind of thing. He does a good job on. But at the moment, when he makes whatever mistake has been made, he gets very defensive about it, and that was certainly true in that debate. I don't think that he was very appealing in the way that he started to get irritated. And you know, the truth is that candidates are going to get these kinds of questions, and if he doesn't think, you know, I mean, I know you and Charlie have taken some heat, but the fact is that, you know, these are the kinds of questions that will come up in a general election.
Hey, George, if you can't take the heat, get out of the kitchen.
That's exactly right. Or give it one of these. But I think the reaction actually does also say something about his appeal and support. I mean, his supporters are with him no matter what. They are energized, they're motivated. When something like this happens, he raises a ton of money.
Speaking about the word entitlement, now, both sides, their supporters want their candidate to win, and they feel very strongly about it, historic and all of that. But the Obama supporters, a lot of them feel there's an entitlement there, at least when I talk to them. It's not as if, well, I hope he wins, and we'll work very hard and all of that, and then I'll consider when I get back. It's, if he doesn't win, it's a cheat. There's unfair about this. Guys, grow up. That's not politics.
But let's go back to this business of capital gains. 20% of those claiming capital gains on their income tax forms have incomes under $50,000 a year. This matters to them. When you raise taxes on corporations, when you take the profits, say, of the oil companies, that's a verb he's used, take the profits from the oil companies. 40% of the oil companies in this country are owned by pension funds and mutual funds. You're taxing ordinary
but the voters
people.
understand the Constitution. They have a very strong sense of it inchoately, and that is that they know that the president is not going to determine capital gains taxes. So they don't vote for president on issues. They vote for president on a gut check. I like that guy, or I like that guy better than the other guy. And I think that the decisions that he, or in this case maybe she, make in the next 4 years, I'm going to be more comfortable with than I would be with that other person.
I think it's...
Which is why these questions that try to get at who you are and what you care about matter.
Well, then you have to ask yourself, why do people complain about the questions rather than look at the answers? You know, I would agree. I think we've done the bitter thing. Okay, it may have went too long. But do you remember we did the under fire thing, sniper fire? And you could argue that went too long, but I don't recall the same people who are arguing that bitterness went way too long argued that that went too long. I think it's just a question of situational ethics from the standpoint of whose side you're on. You know, and he got touched up some, and his people just didn't like it.
And Senator Clinton may have caused herself a little more trouble with that. In the days coming out, we saw a new release of a tape that she made to a fundraiser where she took on MoveOn.org.
MoveOn.org didn't want us to go into Afghanistan. I don't agree with them. They know I don't agree with them. So they flood in these caucuses and dominate them and really intimidate people who actually show up to support me.
This is not going to help her in a time when she's already in some trouble.
I think she's written them off. She knows that the candidate of the left, and again, this is rational. The electorate has figured out that Obama is the most left-wing candidate and have rallied around her. She has to win some other way.
Well, now, if he's the most left-wing candidate, and you look at elections, beginning with George McGovern at least, and say, when the Democrats put up someone who's far to the left, they don't win, why do you think Obama can win?
I'm not sure he can. He's beginning to convince me he has a problem because this remains a center-right country. And while Coki's right that people evaluating a presidential candidate go for a gut check, the gut check involves who he is, but who he is or she is because of what they believe in. And what we've heard this week, we'll come to Mr. McCain in a minute, what we heard this week from the probable Democratic nominee is that he wants to raise taxes on a lot of people, beginning with those earning about $100,000 a year, a household. That's a Chicago cop and a Chicago teacher.
And I guess we'll see a lot of the results coming out of Pennsylvania and see which argument they were more persuaded by. And Koki, right now, it is almost impossible to read. I mean, you open up a different poll every single day in Pennsylvania.
Because there's still all these undecided voters in Pennsylvania. What are they waiting for? You know, but I guess they've just been so barraged at this point. I mean, Obama has spent almost $2 million on television advertising alone. And,
probably twice as much as Senator Clinton.
Yes, 2 to 1. And,
yeah, 2 to 1.
But so I think that the reason nobody knows what the outcome is going to be is because there's such a high undecided voter.
Well, in recent primaries, she's won the last-minute undecided voters. I don't know what's going to happen in Pennsylvania, but it ought to be her state. And the question is, the expectations that have been set.
Where are they now?
Well, in my mind, she needs to win. Now, if she wins by half a point or a point, that's really not good enough. But I can't tell you whether it's 6 points or 8 points. But I know that Senator Obama's people are putting it much higher. And in the press, we're generally putting it, you have to win double digits. So I pose it to you. What if she wins by 10 points? Do you think people will say, well, that fulfilled the expectations? Wrong. They'll say, oh, it should have been 15 points.
I think a lot of it will depend. I think the bar is about, over and under is about 10. Right. And it depends on these superdelegates. I mean, every single time, Senator Obama, when he's had a loss, the next day has had 2, 3, 4 superdelegates. I think the number they're looking for is about 10. And if he's closer than 10, you'll see a lot of superdelegates.
Well, I think it also is not, it's not just the percentage, it's who the voters are.
Exactly.
And if what you're looking at is a bunch of Reagan Democrats, as they've come to be called, going for her overwhelmingly, that's going to get the attention of superdelegates. There's no question about that.